Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Brittany. I am a wife and a mother and a lover of all things makeup and skincare. So today I am actually going to be doing a really fun video, and that is my favorite palette from each brand that I own. I saw Mel Thompson and Samantha March do this and I thought it was just so much fun, so I wanted to kind of even see if I could do this with the amount of eyeshadow palettes that I have, because they obviously have quite a few more products than I do in their collections. So I looked through all of my eyeshadow palettes and I have 10 brands that I at least have 2 palettes from, if not more. Several of them I have a lot more, but still. So yeah, if you would like to see what my favorite palette from each brand that I own is, then go ahead and keep on watching. Alright, so the first brand that I wanted to talk about is e.l.f. and I have quite a few of their little bite-sized palettes, and my favorite is definitely the Hot Jalapeno palette. This color story is absolutely gorgeous, and I feel like the shades in here are the most pigmented out of all of their bite-sized palettes that I have tried. I've tried quite a few. I believe I have 5 of them, and this one here is definitely the most colorful and the most vibrant out of the 4, so yeah, it's definitely a favorite from e.l.f. Okay, so the next brand is Anastasia Beverly Hills, and my favorite palette from her is her Soft Glam palette. I actually was surprised when this was the one that I ended up picking out, but I feel like the shades in here are just absolutely gorgeous, and even though it's a neutral palette, I feel like it's pretty versatile. Like, you can do a warm tone look, a cool tone look, you could do a super neutral look, or you can do something with a little bit more smokiness, I guess. I really do like this. I honestly would like to try more of the Anastasia palettes. I only have 3 currently. So yeah, there are definitely a few that I don't have in my collection that I would love to have, like the Sultry and a few others, but out of the ones that I have, this is definitely my favorite. Okay, so the next brand is Juvia's Place, and this was so hard. I have so many Juvia's Place palettes that I absolutely love, but I finally narrowed it down to the Douce palette, as I believe how you pronounce it. I just love this color story. I know that it looks a little bit like meh in the pan, but these shades are so gorgeous. This shimmer shade right here, which is Macaroons, is so beautiful. It is my favorite green in any palette. This purple shade here, Custard, is so versatile and gorgeous, and I feel like every time that I use this palette I get the most gorgeous look. And I also love pastel shades. They're kind of my favorite looks to do, are pastel looks, and so this palette is just pastel heaven for me. Okay, so the next brand is kind of a random brand, but I don't have quite as many like palettes as other people who are going to be doing this tag. So my next brand is Ulta, and the palette I chose was the Slytherin palette from the Harry Potter collection. This palette is so beautiful. If you guys have been following me on Instagram or watching my videos, then you would know greens are like my favorites. I absolutely love green eyeshadow, and so I love this color story. I love that it is a half neutral, half colorful palette, so if you are a little bit nervous to use colors, you could still do like a super neutral look with this palette. And I feel like the pigmentation on this is the best that I've tried from Ulta. I've had quite a few products from them in my collection. I've had all 4 of the Harry Potter palettes in my collection, and then I've also had like they had a Marvel, it was an Avengers palette, and I had that one as well, and I did not like that palette at all. I feel like it was not pigmented whatsoever, but this one is highly pigmented and it's just so pretty. Alright, so the next brand is Pop Beauty, and all of the Pop Beauty palettes that I currently have were sent to me from Pop, but my favorite of them is the Lightshow palette in Dusk Deluxe. I love this color story so much. I love this pop of blue shimmer. It is a pressed glitter, but I really do like it quite a lot. It's kind of hard to see, I'm sorry, because of the way that the palette is done, but yeah, I really do love this color story, and I feel like the mattes in here are very pigmented and the shimmers are beautiful, and yeah, I really like this palette. Alright, the next brand is Pixi, and this is another brand that all of the palettes that I currently have from them were gifted to me from them. But my favorite palette from Pixi is their Eye Reflection Shadow Palette in Natural Beauty. Oh my gosh, I love this. This is my favorite neutral palette in my collection by far. I love the cool tones in here. I am a cool tone lover, especially because I have a cool undertone to my skin. So anytime that I can find a good cool tone palette, I am so, so happy. This matte shade here, I'm surprised I haven't hit pin on it. It is my favorite matte, like, neutral shade. And I love the shimmers in here. The shimmers are so good. This palette is not like super pigmented right off the bat. It's kind of a more buildable palette, but I like that because when I'm doing a neutral look, I don't want to necessarily go super bold. So yeah, I really, really love this palette, and it is one that I don't think I can ever see myself decluttering because it's gorgeous. All right, the next brand is Natasha Denona, and this one was a really easy one. I picked the Love palette. So this palette is just the most gorgeous pinky purpley palette. The shimmers in here are to die for. The mattes blend like a dream. Every single look that I've ever done with this palette, I have absolutely loved. This was the first Natasha Denona palette that I ever purchased, and I fell in love with her shadow formula. I honestly could see myself purchasing all of her midi palettes like this. I absolutely love them. This is the only midi palette that I have, but I could see that changing eventually because I feel like they're totally worth the price. It's this, like, look at this color story. Look at it. It's perfect. So yeah, I love this palette. All right, so the next brand is Colourpop, and Colourpop was another one that I really struggled with, but when I really got down to it, it was pretty obvious because this Disney Designer Midnight Masquerade palette I reach for all the time. This is another one that is going to be kind of hard to see because of the way that, like, the background is, but I absolutely love this palette so much. I love that it has a mix of colorful and neutral shades, so you could easily get a super neutral look or you could get a gorgeous colorful look. This green, like, duochrome is absolutely stunning. I also love this Madame Odie shade. It looks pink in the pan, but then when you, like, apply it, it's a duochrome, so it's like a pink to a green shift. So gorgeous. This is one of their best palettes in my opinion, except I don't love these chunky pressed glitters. I always want to reach for Royal Ball because it is so beautiful, but then I apply it on my eyes and it gets everywhere and I regret all of my life choices. But besides those two glitters, if they did not have these two glitters in this palette and those were just regular shimmer shades, this would honestly be the perfect palette in my opinion. I just love it. I love it. All right, so the next brand is Storybook Cosmetics, and I don't know that everybody necessarily knows what that brand is, but they make these really fun, like, book palettes, and I have a few of them. I just think they're so cute. I like to display them on my vanity, and my favorite out of the ones that I have is the Burn Book, which is from Mean Girls, which is my favorite movie. Love it. So I love this color story a lot. I like, again, that you can do, like, neutrals or you can do a colorful look. I love this green shade Gruel. So beautiful. I love Cool Mom. Such a stunning shade. I feel like every time that I use this palette, I love the way that my looks have turned out. And I love that it's got like a white shade, but it also has a black shade. It's just really versatile and really perfect. I honestly have nothing negative to say about this palette. The only unfortunate thing is that it is very bulky, so if you don't have cute little setup like I do where you can just like use it as a display piece, then it's a little bit hard to store. So that is the only unfortunate thing about Storybook Cosmetics. But they made these to look like books, so that is why they did it. And I just love the concept and everything. It's a really cute palette. Alright, so the last brand is BH Cosmetics, and BH Cosmetics is one of my favorite brands. I love their palettes so much, but I had to take it super old school for you guys. And my favorite palette from BH Cosmetics is the Zodiac palette. Nobody is talking about the Zodiac palette anymore, and it is still so good. Everybody keeps talking about how they're just now learning that BH Cosmetics has like an amazing eyeshadow formula, and I'm like, girl, I've known about that for years. Have you ever tried the Zodiac palette? It's incredible. The mattes in here are so pigmented and creamy and blendable and just so easy to use. And the shimmers in here, oh my gosh. This was actually one of my first introductions to duochrome was in this palette. The Aquarius shade is like a green to a yellow shift, and it is so gorgeous. I absolutely love this color story. Obviously, it is bulky, okay? It's as big as my head. It is a big palette, but I don't even mind it because I just love the color story. And this was back like when Zodiac collections were huge, so they definitely got it out at the right time. If you have tried this palette, then you will know it is just so good. I obviously wish it wasn't so large because it's kind of hard to store in my drawer. But again, I don't mind because it's so beautiful. So even though I have tons of BH Cosmetics palettes and some of their new palettes are absolutely gorgeous, I just keep going back to this one because I love it. So pretty. Alright, so that is my favorite palettes from each brand that I own. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like this video if you have not already, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in a few days with another video. Bye!